Hi, it's good to be with you today. You'll see that we are now into sweater weather, right? That's okay. I like to wear sweaters and it makes us comfortable to be around. It's able for us to keep the heat down a little bit in the church. Um, but we hope that you're staying warm as the weather begins to get cooler. Before we start with the meditations, a few announcements. One, you've got to change your clock this weekend. If you're coming to church on Sunday, you'll need to change that so you're on time. Secondly is this is Food Pantry Month. So just downstairs or in the garden room will be a grocery cart, and we invite you to bring some food, some dry goods, whatever you can spare to help us with our drive for the food pantries. All the food pantries here in Iowa Falls, the little ones that we have here at church, the Ruth Project, all of them get used quite heavily. We have a number of people within our community that have insecurities when it comes to that. So please share what you can and help our community out. So we are in the season of stewardship. And the finance committee, as we get into this, is giving gifts each weekend to try and get you to think about what it is the gift that you bring to the church. And part of that, we have for our sermon series this gift of love, the gifts that God gives us. And knowing those gifts that God gives us, how can we give back? This week we talk about the gift of giving. And we are in the Gospel of Mark in the 12th chapter. It might be a familiar story to you. Jesus and his disciples are now in Jerusalem, and in fact, for this reading, they are in the temple, and they're just kind of sitting back in one of the pews and watching what's going on. And they're watching this particular day people as they come up and they give to the church. They're dropping things off in the offering plate, and Jesus noticed this elderly woman who we suppose to be a widow, who drops in 2 coins. And Jesus says, look, she's given all that she has. So what do we make of that story? Well, the first thing that we can notice is that within the Gospels, especially in the Gospel of Mark, but also in the Gospel of Matthew, that the gospel keeps going forward, or it's driven by these unnamed or these unknown people. Like this widow. We don't know her name. We don't know who she is. Yet the gospel drives on their stories. And they always seem to have some little deed, some insignificant word or deed or action that they make that actually ends up changing the world. Think about the small boy who had a small lunch that ended up feeding 5,000 people. The unnamed woman with the ointment on Jesus' feet, and this unnamed widow. All some insignificant deeds that changes the world. And how do we know that? Well, we're still talking about them yet today, about what they did. And it makes a difference in our lives today. First thing we'll notice about this story is that Jesus notices this woman like he notices so much. That Jesus sees the poor and the marginalized and the oppressed, takes notice of where they are and what they are doing. Jesus noticed the little boy. Jesus noticed the woman with the ointment. So how is it that they change our lives? Well, they each give us a glimpse into who Jesus is. Each of them represent Christ in that moment. This woman with the 2 coins, as Jesus says, gives her all like Jesus gives his all for us. They tell us that we can be Christ in our moment. They tell us that what we do makes a difference. And sometimes we can say that we don't have enough. But what we give can make a difference. And where it makes the biggest difference, I think, is with us. Okay? The 2 cents that the widow put into that offering plate was not going to buy new boilies for the temple. It was not going to make the difference whether they made their budget that day or that week or that month or not. It didn't make a difference to the temple, but it made a big difference to her. It takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of faith, and it takes a lot of commitment to offer what she did for something else. And that's what we're asking you to do. To have trust, to have faith, to have commitment in your relationship with God. Make a difference in the world. That will just let you determine what gift do you get back when you give. What's that feeling that you have? How does it change your life when you add to this offering? We'll see you next time.